Assalamu alaikum. A term that we hear from a lot of people. The scholars are silent. The scholars don't speak up. The scholars are afraid. The scholars are this and this and that. طيب. If the scholars are silent, if even the scholars are silent, then who are you to speak? If the scholars are silent, who are you to speak? Wallahi al-Azim, some people, they come, they say, we need to speak up because the scholars are silent. You need to shut your mouth in every case, if the scholars speak up or if the scholars do not speak. Because you don't have any right to speak. Either you become like the scholars who you are speaking against because they shut up, or you yourself shut up and don't speak about that which you don't have knowledge of. Some of the scholars said that if the people wouldn't speak without the knowledge, then the differences of opinion would decrease. What does that mean? What is the asl for differences of opinion? I don't mean differences of opinion in fiqh. I mean people differing in aqidah. What is the asl of this? What is the foundation that leads to this? What is the foundation that leads to people disputing about Allah? Look at the story of Bishr. Look at the story of Al-Jahm. Look at the story of Abu al-Hasan al-Ash'ari. Look at the story of these people. You'll find what led them to them building kufr was their ignorance in this issue. And them thinking that they have knowledge even though they did not. Some of them were fuqaha, but they didn't have any knowledge in aqeedah. Some of them would benefit their people in things in this life, of building or so. But when it comes to the aqeedah, they didn't know a word. So because they thought that we know, they started to speak, and this is what led to all of the misguidance that you see today. And then some random kid comes to you and says, why do you Ahl Sunnah split the Ummah? Ya Habib Qalbi, we are not those who split the Ummah. Those who split the Ummah are those who left the way of the Prophet ﷺ for the way of some mushrik or some zindiq, or even if he's just a mubtadi' or so. We are not the ones who split the Ummah. We are the ones who, when we respond to those people, we respond to them to warn you from them so that you don't fall into them or fall into that which they fell into, and then you split the Ummah even more. طيب. So when you say the scholars are silent, we need to speak up. Who are you to speak up, bro? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you compared to these scholars? Who are you compared to these scholars? Some people, when they see a scholar, he says, Yani, we can't do anything about this issue. And of course, I'm speaking specifically about a certain issue. When the scholar comes and says, one of the biggest scholars of our time comes and says, this issue, yani, we can't do anything, and we ask Allah to aid us and so on, but we can't do anything about it. This is one of the biggest scholars says this. And then some random guy off the street comes and says, because the scholars didn't speak up, we need to speak up. Who are you to speak? Who gave you, who allowed you to speak aslan? Allah understand.